Welcome back to another episode of Extreme. My name is Zach, and I guess I'm still here alone today. Gotta figure out something to talk about.
Hey, Zach.
Oh, Joey! Joey, you're back!
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, thank God. I was worried I had to think of something other than Mega Man to talk about. Fucking throw that shit off the desk. Great. All right. Let's get back to Mega Man.
Yes. Glad to be back, Zach.
I'm so excited that you're back, Joey.
So DK64 was pretty sweet, gotta say.
Paul, you gotta put in an obligatory welcome back Joey sound effect.
Thank you.
It's semen.
Okay, all right.
How do we fit? Yeah, okay.
I'll take it.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.
You can't see it, but I gave you a auditory thumbs up. Or what I call saying I give you a thumbs up.
That's actually the truest thing I've ever heard.
All right, let's get back into Mega Man.
Yes.
All right, well, we've gone through Blockman, Acid Man,
Blockman,
and
Acid
Bones Man.
Bones.
You know, you bounce around the room.
The Bones Man.
But now I think it's time to chill. You know, after a long trip like you've had, I think we gotta just chill out and, you know, cool off.
I get it. It's good.
And go right into
Yeah.
Tundra Man stage.
Yeah. The obligatory.
Obligatory. I think it is, actually, there is a law when you're creating a platforming game that at least one level must contain ice physics.
Yes, the statute.
It's like
3.1.
exactly. It's like it's the pi law. it's like the part of the 10 commandments of platforming. Thou shalt have an ice level. And Mega Moses came down from the mountain after talking with the E-Bush. Done. Oh man,
this has to be a thing.
it must be, right? Somebody has to have done this.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm getting so off track. So
Yeah. All right.
Tundra Man.
Tundra Man.
So it starts off with the falling snow that leads into basically a warning against other falling things that will be coming throughout this stage. You know, just a quick, easy, not to worry about enemy, just falls in a very straightforward pattern, very slowly. It's kind of like actually if snow was painful when it fell and hit you, which in hindsight and in foresight would be fucking terrible.
I don't get why they have eyeballs, because
they just watch themselves fall to their death. They can't adjust their course or anything.
Yeah.
It's like
they might as well just be snowflakes.
They're just fucking like, okay, I hope he fall. Good, wait, no, don't go, no, I missed him, Ah! And then he's just part of the snow again.
My life is useless.
It's okay, that thanks to robot evaporation, he'll come back again after he becomes robot water and vaporizes into the robot cloud and then becomes robot snowflake again. Because that's how that works, right?
Yeah.
You know, come to think of it, we are actually in a museum in this level. So we're actually
it looks like a museum.
We're going to be learning a lot about robots and how robots came to be, just by looking at the background elements in this stage. But that's for a little bit later. Can I just talk about something quickly?
No.
Oh, okay.
Paul, put in some music.
Okay,
Zach.
so this. Speaking of music, this fucking music is a banger. I know.
Yeah.
I know most of the
God.
music in Mega Man games are above par, but for some reason, this song I've just been like listening to it on repeat on my iPod, my
That's awesome.
my phone. I haven't had an iPod in like a decade.
It's funny that you say that because I still use
You do?
my iPod. My iPod
Wow,
Nano.
it still works.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't use it often. I use it like once a
Man,
year.
I miss my old iPod Nano. No, you know what? I'm gonna go back to the first
Yeah.
MP3 player I had. It was a fucking Dell MP3 player. It was garbage.
I had a Dell one too. I think 20
Oh,
songs.
it
or
was
something.
fantastic at the time.
Almost. Yeah. Oh, it was my
The
favorite.
coolest
thing
thing about it was not only that you could put like I could put all of my Weird Al Yankovic songs on there, but it had a backlight and I could choose whatever song I wanted off of any CD.
Yeah,
Up to 20 songs though.
and you could make it in random order, shuffle.
It's fantastic. I didn't have to lug around that gigantic CD player. You know, I think the reason that I wore baggy pants and a lot of cargo pants was because I didn't have enough room to fit my CD player.
That's a very legit.
And then I just kept wearing cargo pants, and everybody's like, "Why do you wear cargo pants?" I'm like, "I don't know anymore." It's just I did it for I was a kid, and then cargo pants,
to make room for all my activities.
and then things got smaller, and it's like, okay, I guess I could start wearing jeans now.
Yeah, I guess.
Wow, this got off to a real fucking
Whatever.
tangent. I know that you're back because I'm fucking torn off course every 2 seconds now. No,
Sorry,
no, that's a
my
good
bad.
thing. I'd rather we have these interstitials. Anyway,
Okay.
the music in the safe to say, music in this song in this stage is a banger. And I think that it actually leads in well to the theming around the double gear system, well with the song and how it's actually laid out. So initially it starts off with one kind of one time signature, and it's like very slow paced, not slow paced, but like slowish paced. And then
yeah,
and then
theme.
about halfway into it, I swear to God, they say double gear. They say something like that. They say like, listen to the song. Paul, put in like that, like one clip. Fantastic. So that, yeah, it sounds like double gear, but I don't know. And then it picks up and it's fucking boisterous and like epic, and it's just like, yeah, you're on fire, dude. You keep moving. It's a great.
That's it. That's it. It's
If
like
you're looking
your
for a
level.
banger to pipe yourself
basically.
up when you're going for a run, check that out. Okay.
Yes.
So yes, as we keep moving on. Oh my God, we're at 7 minutes already. All right.
Okay. Okay. Did we
We've
start the
barely
level yet?
started the level. We're only going through one level today.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So there's a map to the building in the background near the beginning of the stage. I still haven't gotten past the beginning.
Yeah.
It just gives you an
You are
gives
here.
you an idea
Okay.
of how broad and big the stage is actually going to be. But it also lights up, and that shit's dope. Anyway, moving on. So, yeah, the map lights up with different locations.
Oh yeah, like
Okay.
right.
So, as we mentioned, this is an ice stage, so hence it comes with ice mechanics. Don't have to fill you guys in on what that means, but just in case you are on episode 111 of our podcast and you haven't played a video game with ice physics in it, yeah, sure.
Same.
Sure you did. Wink!
Yeah.
So it just means that you can't stop on a dime anymore when you're walking on platforms. So you, like on regular ice, you will keep moving,
Yes.
even if you do not intend to keep moving.
It's regular
Yes,
ice.
it's regular ice physics. It's real world ice physics. Which I also hate as I keep looking outside and see that it's becoming more and more ice physics-y outside.
God. That's very appropriate to our climate right now in Canada.
I'm going to go for a run later today. Anyway, coupled with its nasty twin of spike walls and short hop ice platforms, this stage is a force to be reckoned with.
Yes. Not easy. Not an easy stage.
But as we move through, I noticed that in these Mega Man games, they love to do this particular layout for a section of a stage where they have a corridor that you can safely wander through, and 3/4 of the screen is taken up by enemies on an upper path that cannot get you on the lower path, so you can actually see how those enemies interact without worrying about them hurting you, without having time to react and see what they are. It's a pretty good way to get a player to examine what enemies are coming ahead of them without them jumping in head first. It forces them to understand the enemies that they're about to face.
Yeah, you get to see what's coming.
Exactly. You get to see what's coming. You're not jumping into it headlong because the ladder up to the other side is all the way. You have to walk all the way across. So you have to take the time to actually see the enemies and how they interact with each other. So it's a good way to force a player to understand a game mechanic or an enemy mechanic. So good job. That's a good thing that they reuse it a lot, but it's because it's a good way to do it. It's a good way to introduce an element to a player.
Yeah.
And then also, like we mentioned before, we're in a museum, right?
Yes.
So there's fossils of robot dinosaurs.
Yeah, I don't get that. Is that how robots came to exist?
Is that how that came to exist? Did robot dinosaurs evolve alongside normal dinosaurs? Also, that brings up a lot of questions. Did somebody from the future build a time machine into the past and introduce evolving robots as dinosaurs?
Oh, that's very possible.
That would be the craziest. Oh my god. Is that going to be like Mega Man 18? Where we go and fight like a time-traveling robot like creator, like Wily's successor, who's like, Wily wasn't thinking big enough. Yeah. I'm going to build robots that evolve in time.
That's genius. Has there been like time travel in any Mega Man game yet?
Not that I can think of. Then again, there's a lot of Mega Man games. So
yeah. It could be.
If we're talking like X and Mega Man Classic, I don't think so. There are a ton of other Mega Man spin-offs that I'm not aware of, which might bend the rules of time and space, but I have no idea. Anyway, I think that would be a great elevator pitch for a Mega Man game later on. And the best part is you can actually twist up the formula even more by having Mega Man lose.
Whoa.
Because then it would make sense that this museum exists. Right. Oh my god. What? Just take my idea, Capcom. Just take it and run. Maybe give me a little bit of royalties. Like, that'd be nice. That'd be great. I could use a credit in there. You could put my name as Shark Man. That'd be great. I'm getting off track. There is a mechanic that is introduced, again, pretty standard for these icy levels. It's heavy. You add heavy wind to ice mechanic. Because, with the ice, you're going to be flown around anyway, so if you add heavy wind to that, it adds a new level of depth to the amount of slipping and sliding you do.
Indeed.
And then as the section progresses, there's gradual increases in platforming difficulty, leading up to an optional final test, where if you pass it, you end up getting some extra nuts to buy items. So, It's a pretty straightforward, here is gradual difficulty increase, leading to optional final exam, where if you complete it, you get a reward. And if not, then the reward is continuing to play the game.
Yeah. Or like a midterm, optional midterm. Or you could just do the final and have it worth 100%.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure that's what it means when you get on those spike platforms. Yeah. The spike platforms below you are the 100% final.
Yes, they will always be 100% final.
If you slip up on the platform and land into the spikes, that's an F. Oh, man. Okay, Paul, I need a quick break so I can drink more coffee and keep this energy up. Do you think you can hook me up with a 14.3 second break? Exactly. Paul, what the hell? That was like 2 seconds. Whatever. Well, anyway, let's just talk about the mini boss here for a minute.
Yes, we're at the mini boss.
One of the odder mini bosses I've seen. A frozen robot mammoth on a sentient pedestal?
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
it feels like
it looks cool.
It does look cool. It just kind of feels like sometimes they like had a dartboard at the like Capcom offices and just like threw darts at adjectives to figure out what they were going to make.
Yeah, like Mad Libs or something.
Yeah, it's like, okay, Steve, we're going to give you a Mad Lib, and you filled this out, and this is going to be a mini-boss.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, the frozen robot mammoth with a sentient pedestal that calls down gale storm winds. And it's like, what the hell happened to you, man? Steve, you need to take a break. You're seeing shit.
No, it's genius. Put it in.
Put it in! The man's a genius. So like I briefly alluded to, this, whatever it is, can call down ice pillars, ice spikes, and call forth a mighty gale wind, and then ram you.
Yeah.
It all fucking culminates in ramming.
It's funny because usually the things on platforms like make you have to jump to actually hit the enemy, but this time you just have to hit the platform and not the enemy.
Mm-hmm. That is weird. It's like they're saying like, do you have some pent up frustration against platforms? Do you want us to like help you out with that, bro?
Yeah, it's like you don't have to jump this time.
Yeah, dude, just destroy the platform this time. This time's your time, man. The time is now. But like, I don't understand why a lot of these platforming games just kind of rely on, like, at the end of the day, it's like one of the arsenal of these people will be ramming into you with their body.
Yeah.
I'd love for one boss to not have that.
Yeah, you ram into it one time.
Yeah, that why we turn the tables. It's like if you ram into it gets hurt.
Yeah.
Turn that shit on its head, game. It's a trope that needs to be stopped. Just ramming into
that would be interesting.
Right? Yeah, you know what? And it's like you ram into it gets hurt, but you can't hurt it any other way.
Right.
Like something like that.
And it's really good at like long distance like shooting and stuff.
Exactly. That's a fucking genius idea for a boss or mini boss.
Yeah.
It runs away from you while it's shooting at you from long distance, and the only way you can hurt it is by ramming into it.
Yeah.
Why don't we just flip the formula, gang?
Genius. We're coming up with so many good ideas today.
God, if we were only game developers, we could actually make money off of these ideas, but no. Let's just save them for our podcast.
Yay.
Yay, we're sharing them with you guys. And if you are game designers, feel free to take this and run with it for your own indie development. Just remember to quote us as being people.
Yeah. Extreme.
No, but seriously, if you are a game developer and you have ideas, take some of ours. You know, I love supporting indie developers. And if some of our ideas go into your game, then hell yeah, I'm more than happy for that.
And this is all worth it.
Just don't give them to the big companies. They don't need it.
No.
They're fine. Anyway, that mini boss done. So I want to talk more about the background elements again, because we're in a museum, and I still can't get over the fact that this is like telling the history of robot evolution.
Yeah. Also, like, why do robots have fossils?
I don't know, man, but like so immediately after getting out of here, there's like a set of 4 glyphs, I guess you'd call them.
Okay, yeah.
So it starts off with the square, then goes to a circle, and then a more ornate looking circle, and then goes to a cave looking person. Is this the evolution of the robot?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
It just like turned into a robot at one point after just being shapes.
I don't know. Or it's like, maybe it's like the parts of a robot coming together. Like the squares are like a form of nut or something, and nuts and bolts. Yeah. And then the ornate circle is them all kind of coming together to make something nice, and then you have cave robots. I think that's how that works.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
But let's keep moving on here. As you keep going here, there's again heavy wind, ice platforms, spikes, falling objects. You know, again, we're getting past the halfway point. They're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you, which makes sense. Standard, 100%. But in the back, again, I keep getting distracted by the background elements here, because there's cave mets. This is like, they have like bodies and shit.
Yeah.
And they have like, they have robot beards.
Robot beards?
They have like robo beards.
What?
Like, what is this? I love it. Why don't more robots have robo beards? Like, they did it in Mega Man X, like in the later games. Like why don't more robots have just robot beards?
What? Yeah, or like jaw protectors. I guess that's what they really are.
Yeah, come on, that would be great. Just it's a fancied jaw protector.
Yeah.
And then you could not, and then it grows huge, the jaw protector, and becomes like a fucking shield, and then it fights you with the boss. God damn it, we're thinking of more boss ideas. No, we're getting so off track. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep moving on to this particular room that happens pretty soon after that, which I thought was devious. It's just devious. So, so it starts off as an empty room, inconspicuous enough. There are spikes. So spikes above a ceiling that you can't really jump in, because if you jump, you'll hit the spikes.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, through the hole in the ceiling, a fucking Sniper Joe falls down and then starts shooting you.
And you can't jump.
So, like, what are you gonna do, man? You have one option. It's 2 options, actually. You have 2 options. You tank that damage like a motherfucker, or you turn on your speed gear and try and run past it as it's falling. Yeah. Or, as the third one, you turn on your power gear and just try and overwhelm the Joe's shield.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that.
Never mind. There's a lot of options.
He'll still probably get you one.
Oh, he'll get you at least once or twice. Yeah. Your best option is to just speed through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting dynamic in a way that it forces you to rethink how you approach these enemies, because up until this point, you probably have just been jumping over their bullets.
Yeah.
And now this particular situation is forcing you to say, hey, maybe take a step back, rethink your abilities and options here, because that won't work right now.
Yeah. And, like, your first instinct is probably to jump also.
Exactly. And then you try jumping and you die, and you're like, oh, shit. Can't do that.
So
and then we keep moving on.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really good game element to kind of force players to try something different. It's like removing the path of least resistance.
Yeah, yeah.
And making it so that they'll actually try something new.
You gotta be creative.
Exactly. I love it when it forces you to be creative in solving solutions or solving problems. And then you keep moving on here, and I keep getting distracted by the background elements. But like, seriously, if you keep looking at the elements that happen throughout the stage itself, it's telling you a story or something about how robots evolved into where they are today.
Mm-hmm.
Which is insanity. Again, it goes back to the thing we were talking about at the beginning. Like, did someone go into the past and plant these robots that can evolve alongside actual dinosaurs, and then they just followed the same evolutionary pattern as we did? Which is crazy.
Maybe they're, like, alluding to some sort of, or foreshadowing to some sort of plot point.
Maybe. Or maybe, that's a good point, actually, on the plot point thing. Maybe in Mega Man 18, when they use this plot thread, there is an issue where there are no more animals or something. There's like an extinction of animals coming on. So to solve the problem, they've decided to create evolutionarily adaptable robot animals that go alongside the normal animals and can maybe survive a bit better to not cause the extinction of the other animals?
Could be.
I don't know. That would be one hell of a stretch.
Yeah.
But that's what you come here for. That's why you guys listen to this podcast, right? For just random shit tangents that come out of my brain hole.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's what we've been doing since episode 1.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe not episode 1. Anyway, Paul, I need to reminisce for a minute. Can you put in the reminiscing music while I take a sip of my coffee? Wow.
Feel better, Zach?
Much better. Anyway, let's get on to it. We're almost done with the stage anyway. So let's talk about the last area that we get into here, which is a very interesting twist on the platforming elements. Where normally the platforms are, platforms and not gigantic columns of ice that have been carved into a platform.
Right.
So it's combining this reverse platform creation with heavy winds. So when I say reverse platform creation, again, normally it's just empty space and then platform. Now it's an abundance of platform with the empty space being the platform.
Right. Almost like a maze in a way or something.
Exactly. It is like a platforming maze because there's only certain areas that you can jump into and you have to time it correctly and actually, not freak out and just keep going with the flow. And you have to make sure that the wind is at your back because a lot of these jumps are impossible to do without the wind.
Right.
But it's a nice way to kind of reverse the expectation of platforming, because it is still platforming, but it's changing out that empty space and the dynamic of you in it.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Okay, because it sounded like it didn't make sense in my own head, so as long as it makes sense in your head, then
it makes
we're
sense
good.
to me because I already know what you're talking about.
Shit. Okay, well, so there are these things called columns. And, no, never mind. If you have a question about my teaching methodology, don't, because I'm not a teacher. But second... You can email us at itstheextreme@gmail.com. That's itstextrem@gmail.com, and send me a course syllabus that I can memorize and forget about in the first 10 seconds of the episode.
Yeah. Or just play Mega Man 11 and you'll see what we're talking about.
Probably better idea. More fun, I would say. Speaking of fun, let's talk about Fundra Man.
Yeah.
It's, so... As I entered, Mr. Funderman said, "It's showtime! I'm like a rose frozen in ice."
Yeah.
Very fabulous entrance.
Yes.
With the spotlights and the bravado. I like it. And
he's like an ice skater almost.
Exactly. So most of the attacks that Tundra Man does are skating related. He'll skate around the room instead of running. Replacing ramming into you with pirouettes. Ice skating, all that. Lot of spins. I don't know, is it 900 or something? Do they call it something different in skating?
Yeah, a 900. That makes sense.
I don't know. Is it like a triple axel? Is that a thing? That sounds like a thing.
Probably triple axel.
Maybe.
Axel is probably 360 degrees.
Then that makes sense.
Or 180. Maybe 180.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. I gotta look up what an axle is. I just know about it on a car, and then it was a Mega Man character later on. Not in that order, but... So then it also has the double gear attack, but this one focuses on speed, obviously. So they sprint across the screen, culminating in a column of ice that takes up maybe about a third of the screen. So all in all, it's a pretty straightforward fight. You just need to be able to be on your toes, so to speak, and dodge out of the way when necessary. Nothing too out of the ordinary. And then Tundra Man is shattered.
Yeah. And you get his attack.
You get the Tundra Storm.
Which is awesome.
That's a pretty cool name for an attack.
Yeah.
But I think it's about that time. You want to say it?
But,
you can say it.
No, you say it. No, you say it.
No, you say it. You say it. That's what you say.
You say it.
Say it at the same time, okay?
No. Okay. One,
two.
okay. 1, 2.
One,
I'm
two.
nervous.
It's okay. We got this.
Good.
Wait. 1, 2, 3. Nailed it in one! Internet backstory for Tundra Man. Tundra Man is a robot who appears in Mega Man 11. He was originally created by Dr. Cossack as a surveillance robot designed to monitor environmental changes in some of the Earth's coldest regions. He led a lonely life, though, and after watching an ice skating championship on television, he was inspired to become a professional figure skater.
Wow.
Yes, and while under maintenance at Light's lab, he was stolen and outfitted with a speed gear and told to take over took over the museum. His personality, being an ice skating robot, Tundra Man is a very flashy and likes to show off his moves, constantly dancing even while he's fighting Mega Man. Like many of the other robot masters, Tundra Man enjoys making puns based off of his elemental powers. Now let's read the data file that comes when you beat Tundra Man in Mega Man 11. Though Tundra Man was designed for land development and exploration in polar climates, he found a new obsession for the first time he saw a TV ice skating championship. Since then, he has spent long years perfecting incredible ice skating techniques out on the polar ice flats. But since his audience is generally huskies, polar bears, and seals, he doesn't get many reviews. Tundra Man had a tougher looking exterior when he was first sent to the North Pole, but he made some modifications to suit his graceful passion of ice skating. To him, the fact that his dazzling moves have been locked away at the North Pole and never witnessed is a crisis on the scale of global warming. Tundra Man eagerly awaits the day when he can show the world his exquisite skills.
Very nice.
Okay. Is this an allegory? Is this an allegory for transgenderism?
Is it?
Is it?
I don't know. It is
I don't know.
2019.
It is, and it was. This was created in 2017.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
When that was popping up in the cultural zeitgeist. I don't know. Am I looking too deep into this? It started off just from the data file itself. This particular line, Tundra Man had a tougher looking exterior when he was first sent to the North Pole, but made some modifications to suit his graceful passion of ice skating. It kind of sounds like that.
I guess it could be.
Maybe I don't know.
It could mean whatever you want it to mean.
I don't know. I don't mean it in any particular way. It just seems like the way they're describing it, it kind of sounds like that.
Yeah.
But I'm again, maybe I'm looking too deep into it, which is entirely possible. I am 1,000% sure that I'm looking too deep into it because my life is spent looking too deeply into video games, finding meaning where there is none.
That's it.
And then that's
the point.
But that is the point of the podcast. What else do we got here? Tundra Man's mugshot in the level select screen is one of the few that actually breaks outside of the boundaries of the stage select itself.
Interesting tidbit.
So the hair actually falls outside of the bounds of the character portrait, which is interesting. That's all I actually have for... That's actually all I have for Tundra Man's Internet Backstory.
Internet Backstory. Cool beans.
Well, that was quite the long episodes. I don't actually think we're going to have time to do another stage, so we'll pick that up next week. Yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad to have you back, Joey, seriously.
I'm glad to be back, Zach.
It was weird without you. I don't like talking to myself. I'm not good at that.
But yeah,
thanks, buddy. You're too kind.
You know,
did you bring me back some pad thai?
I did, but I ate it already. I'm sorry, Zach. It was just too good.
That's okay. Thank you guys again for listening. I really, really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. If you want to message us, email us. Feel free to do so at itstheextreme@gmail.com. That's itsthexstream@gmail.com. I love hearing from every single one of you. It makes my day. So on that note, I think I need to pause.
What?